After the Nikhil Kamath podcast where Elon Musk has said that AI will take over work sometime in future.
Well, of course, AI is very powerful, but it's not magic yet.
ChatGPT, Perplexity, and many other softwares. Why would a company not go to these softwares simply and search about their query? And how do you create a value here?
Even now, when we say what we do, we essentially bring insights onto the table which have never been written down. Most of our clients who are seeking information are experts for 99% of the world. Our experts are those very few who are experts to the experts.
Infollion Research Services Limited is building a marketplace for high-stakes expertise, connecting companies and investors to senior industry veterans with 20 to 25 years of experience for insights you won't find on Google or even ChatGPT. Instead of selling reports, Infollion helps clients speak directly to operators across value chains, using a strong data layer to make fast, precise matches at scale. With a sticky, repeat-heavy client base and a growing India to US corridor, Infollion is trying to create a winner-take-all expert network out of India. In today's conversation, we break down Infollion's business model, margins, moat, and what its global expansion could mean for investors.
About 80-85% of our projects get serviced by experts whom we already know a lot about. So this is a very easy business to start, but a very difficult business to scale. Let's say 1,000 ka 500 projects a month we get done from our existing network. That is good 80-85% of our India business.
Many analysts questioning your US expansion.
Almost quarter of our business coming from US, 50-100 times bigger market than India.
Has it ever happened to you that McKinsey bypass you for the project to connect to the expert directly instead of bringing you into the equation?
And
Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are at Infollion Research Services Limited in Gurugram, a 400 crore market cap company that is redefining the way we look at gig economy. If I say gig workers, you'll probably imagine Zepto and Blinkit delivery partners and Zomato workers. But it is much more than that. If I were to divide it in tiers, tier 1 would probably have subject matter experts, industry consultants, and that is exactly where Infollion comes in. Today we have with us Gaurav Munjal, who did his graduation from IIT Bombay, started the company in 2009. In a short span of time, took it to exchanges. Rest is his story to tell, so thank you for joining us today, sir.
and thank you so much for.
Gaurav, when I first read about your company, in the most basic terms, what I was able to understand is that you are an intermediary who connects subject matter experts or consultants to the companies who require their services. Is it what you do?
Bang on. This is precisely what we do. So, Infollion is a marketplace where on one side we have subject matter experts, typically 20-25 years of experience, spent their entire life in one domain, and on the other side we have people who are knowledge seekers looking for some deep domain insights, and our job is essentially to know what do they want
Hmm.
from the client side, and what the experts can provide from the expert side, and do a match. Like, in very short, in very simple terms, yes, you're right what to do, and essentially we're a data company.
Okay. So, when we talk about service providers, is it the people who are working in the field full time, or are these retired people, or do they provide services on freelancing basis? How does it work?
A mix of all.
Okay.
It depends. Most of them are independent consultants who have spent like 20-25 years at least in our industry. Some of them are still working in capacity, but most of them are independent. They've moved on from their executive roles or available in consultative roles to large companies. But more often than not, the key defining feature of them would be they've spent their entire life in one or two domain or a function.
So the first question when I read about your company was, with the advent of AI, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and many other softwares, why would a company not go to these softwares simply and search about their query and get a direct insight from AI driven platform than you. So how do you create a value here? Especially after the Nikhil Kamath podcast, where Elon Musk has said that AI will take over work uh, sometime in future.
Well, of course, AI is very powerful, but it's not magic yet. Whatever AI has the ability to give structure to a lot of unstructured data, which essentially means the tools need to be trained on something which is already available,
Okay.
very hard to comprehend, but available. When we used to, or rather, when even now, when we say what we do, we essentially bring insights onto the table which have never been written down.
Hmm.
Plus, they need to be bleeding edge in terms of time as well as tech.
Yeah.
So, most of our experts have those insights, those information, that knowledge, and to a very large extent, that wisdom in that specific domain. Very few models have been trained upon them, if any. So, this specific industry is essentially about getting the most cutting edge knowledge slash wisdom possible on to the knowledge seekers. In fact, most of our clients would be the one who have probably done their first cut research on AI or any other reports. Or in fact, we rather encourage that you just do your basic research and then come to us seeking knowledge. For as I say quite often, almost most of our clients who are seeking information are experts for 99% of the world. Our experts are those very few who are experts to the experts.
Yeah. So obviously you are very right, because if I were to give a prompt to ChatGPT, let's say, that give me insights on XYZ drugs in pharmaceutical company, it'll probably gather all the resources on the internet, but the type of insights that I am looking for, a subject matter expert or a person who has already worked on ground in this domain for 25 years would be able to tell me better, right? So that's where you come in.
No doubt about it. In fact, most of our clients would have already done this research when they come to us. They would be seeking uh, something like, where do I source this KSM, or what are the geopolitical challenges in sourcing this KSM from this country as opposed to other? Is the supply chain of that KSM which feeds into my API, which feeds into this drug, which feeds into this retail pharma company, is it sturdy enough? Now, most of these things are never captured. They're still in the minds of those people who are operating.
Yeah.
Right? So there are traders who would know that how to pick something from one country and make sure the ship is available for that commodity somewhere else, and what, how, some kind of weather data in XYZ country is likely to impact a completely different FMCG company in India. So now these kind of things, or these kind of insights are available, are still available only in the heads of people who are operators, who are
Hands-on
practitioners.
experience and on-ground experience.
Right. So the kind of clients who work with us are consulting firms, private equity funds who need these deep insights. They already have all the information available.
Okay.
They're looking for some kind of wisdom which they can derive from those from that information, and that's where.
Could you name a few big names that you have been working with, or just
I'm not sure that's a good idea, but we work with pretty much all major consulting firms.
Okay.
We work
That
with
answers a lot.
we work with all private equity, not all, but a lot of private equity funds in India. A lot of long public market funds. So essentially, we have 3 or 4 sets of clients. The first set is, of course, consulting firms. When I say consulting, mostly management consulting firms, strategy consulting firms. The second set is private equity funds, who for whom again uh, publicly information or available information, publicly available information is not enough. They need to lock themselves in for at least 5-7 years. They do a lot more research. Then there are long only public market funds who do that. And then there are large corporates who operate almost like a strategy firm. At least their central teams operate like that. So these are the kind of clients we have, and almost all of them would need these kind of insights which are otherwise not available.
Okay, okay. So coming to your journey, usually I start my interview with promoter's journey, but I thought giving the context of what you do would help people understand that where you come from. So you have done your graduation from IIT Bombay, one of the most premier institutions in the country. So how has the journey been for you, and what led you to start this company?
So that's a long story, but so back in early 2000s, India was just coming off the dot-com bubble in US, and I don't know if you guys have even heard of Y2K. It used to be a big thing at our end. This from 99 to 2000, a lot of computer systems were going to break down, and IT services was at its peak. So plus pharma was picking up a bit. So there was this energy all around, of jumping into, starting up your own companies. There was this entire, after I think 2002, 3, or even early 2000s, so first half of 2000s, there was this entire movement of sorts where people thought, it might be a good idea to stay back in India and build here.
Yeah.
So that was the genesis. So when we were in a first year, probably more than 50% or even 70% of a senior batch used to go to US, right? So, and by the time we were there, it had probably boiled down to a few 10, 20, 30%. So we decided to stay here, build here. In final year in college, so there was a lot of tech available within the IIT, and which was, so we decided to start up something. So I was in a dual degree course. In our final year, we decided to pick a tech from IIT Bombay, and which was developed by a very senior and very smart professor. And me and a friend of mine kind of mined a lot of tech and zeroed in on one which we think we could implement. We tried a lot, to be honest. We got some good inroads at initial level. We won some competitions, to say the least, but we were somehow not able to make it work. While there were a plethora of reasons. So to summarize, we started off in my final year in college. It was a very short stint of my first business.
Okay.
Then we worked for a few years, 15 months to be precise.
Okay.
Made some money. We thought, let's start something. The plan B is good enough. India is growing at a very healthy click. So those were times in 2003, 4, 5, 6 where India probably had the highest GDP growth rates ever.
Yeah.
Right. So everything was picking up. Everything was hunky dory.
2004, 2005, you graduated.
Right. So in 2006 we jumped in again. So
And then
my first startup.
financial crisis.
First startup, yeah. So sorry, I'll come to that. First startup happened in 4. We rounded up in early 5 or something. 2006 we jumped again,
Okay.
and then we started off as a primary research firm.
Okay.
So I joined a group of friends who were working on this socio-political, economic startup kind of scenario uh, where they used to collect lots of primary data, load it onto a very rudimentary GIS software of sorts. There were no Google Maps, there were no maps for that matter at that point of time. Most of the mapping companies are very low, so we used to go procure maps physically from small tehsils and district headquarters, map the relevant, if it is a political thing, relevant the blocks, the polling booths, or districts, or whatever it required, right? So we used to procure maps, physically map those points on those maps, and load lots of data sourced from various sources, economic data. We used to tie up with companies, source it, and then load onto that and sell that data. Again, the primary source of our revenue was still primary surveys.
Okay.
The basic data analysis, primary data collection, but we just had a very interesting way of presenting and selling that data, like the visualization bit. 2008, 9, somewhere we realized that, we should, when the net speeds became a little reasonable, everything was moving from CDs to web. So we thought, why not sell this data online? So we tried to make the online version of the same data, maps, GIS software, load that data on that software and sell it online for subscription. So that's the genesis of Infollion. So when we made that software, we realized that if we are uploading this data from one end, we can let pretty much anyone upload data, right?
Yeah.
Since you've already built the other side of marketplace, which we didn't know was called a marketplace at that point of time. So we accidentally arrived upon that term where we thought if others can, upload data, we can upload data. We already have a subscription model of sorts or a subscription part. So then this turns into a data marketplace.
Yeah.
And hence the name Infollion.
Okay.
So we used to have lots of data points where, so this is the genesis, right? So for the first few years of Infollion, we were actually Infollion Business Research Hypermart.
Okay.
We were not even on-demand experts. So one of our clients suggested, why don't you add experts? One of our clients suggested, why don't you add reports? So we thought, fine, that's a very good idea because we are already selling to people who are consuming a lot of research. So if we can aggregate a lot of research products, including expert hours, including data, including reports or any other databases, then we become a marketplace of sorts. And that's how it started. But somewhere around 2010-11, when we started doing our first expert call, we figured out this is something which the market is missing. So while other things were there were a lot of companies who were selling reports, databases, who were doing much better than us. Of course, the KPO wave was at its peak. There were hundreds of companies who were outsourcing in India and all. So we thought this is a nice niche. So by 2014-15, I think we dropped everything else, rebranded to On-Demand Experts, and we've been doing that for almost 10 years now. Exclusively that expert. We dropped everything else, and here we are.
That's an incredible journey. You started with how many employees, and I think today you're managing around 200 employees.
Yes, so at last count, where we disclosed in March 2025.
Okay.
Right, so we were at 200, but obviously we have grown from there.
Yeah.
But of course, we started alone. It was a classic garage startup. We were in it started from the living room of where we were staying. So that's a very simple story. Our first office was probably the size of this room. So I'm sure you've heard this before.
Yeah. So, coming back to your business, do you have a software where you connect people online, or is it more a people-driven business?
So no, so at the back end, we are essentially a data company.
Okay.
Right. So our entire job is to collect as much data as possible about the expert, collect as much data as possible about what the client is looking for, and map them. So the basic searches, basic discoveries are there, but we have built a lot of layers onto that data.
Okay.
So we collect data about what the expert knows, even when the project doesn't.
Okay.
So we share the agendas. So when we get a project, we collect the agenda items of the potential engagement. Those agenda items are circulated to a lot of experts. And a lot of experts give their opinions, answers, feedback on those.
Okay.
And one of them gets selected. But at the back end, we are constantly collecting data on everyone.
Okay.
What do they know? What do they don't know is equally important. Essentially because we have to match them and map that expert to a downstream project which we might get somewhere down the line.
Okay.
So this all happens with a mix of DIY and do it for me. From the client perspective, they can also search. They can also rely on our team to search for them.
Okay.
Or they can, we have something known as a visualization software where we have mapped these experts as per their available, as per their expertise.
Okay.
In a particular function. And what kind of examples they have, which vendors they have worked with clients they have worked with, in what capacity they had worked there, have they worked in a specific geographies which they can comment upon. So we have a complete value chain of sorts. For example, a machinery supplier supplying to a iron and steel company supplying to a specialized, which is also sourcing from a specialty chemical company, or a KSM supplier supplying to a API manufacturer, supplying to a pharma manufacturer, supplying to a retailer, supplying to a US hospital or something. So these entire value chains are mapped. Each value chain individually has details of experts of what role they play.
Okay.
So the clients can browse around for the discovery bit. Our team can search, they can search. So there is a very strong tech layer behind it.
Okay. So there are two ways to go about it. One, let's say if I want a particular insight on XYZ industry, I'll come to you with my requirement, then you'll search for an expert for me. Or I come to you for the requirement and you already have an expert in house, or you're already connected to the expert. How does it work?
So both actually, more often than not, it's the latter where the clients have a very specific granular question which they're not able to answer. We more often than not, about 80-85% of our projects get serviced by experts whom we already know a lot about.
Okay.
Where the turnaround time is a few minutes or an hour, or half an hour, or whatever, right? So as long as it takes to compile and get those answers or comfort on the agenda from those experts. For about 15-20% of the experts, we do not have a expert on board already.
Okay.
It goes to a separate team who starts looking out for experts in the
And this is 20%. 80%?
It depends. So that's what they call as custom empanelments.
Okay.
And then 80% is about pre-empanelments. The more we have worked on a specific domain, the more experts we are likely to have. Right? So what the client needs is the precision of that expert. Client doesn't care whether it is custom or pre-empaneled or wherever you get the expert from, they don't care. Right? So that 15-20% business has got the dynamics of a very HR services business where the more people you employ, the more experts you get. But that 80-85% of the marketplace business is essentially a tech and data business.
Okay.
So this is a very easy business to start, but a very difficult business to scale. So when you start, you are 0-100.
Scale and sustain.
And sustain. So you need to keep adding data, you need to keep mining, keep refreshing the experts, etc. So everyone starts at 0-100, 0% PE, 100% CE, right? 100% CE is very easy. Not very easy, I mean, you need some domain knowledge, but it's relatively easy. So the more you start moving in towards the pre-empaneled experts, that's where the back-end part of this business starts playing a role and the network effects start kicking in.
Okay. So you as a company look for experts. Let's say if I have already worked in a domain for 25 years and I know about a company like Infollion and I am available to give my services, so how do I reach out to you? Is there a provision?
So yes, so we call them self-registered experts.
Okay.
Having said that, more often than not, we reach out to experts. We do our background research.
Okay.
We know which expert is relevant enough.
Okay.
And we reach out. So how we see it is there are domain experts and there are functional experts.
Okay.
When I say function, it's like marketing function, a stat function or a tech function. So anyone who can work cross domain.
Okay.
Like a coder doesn't care whether they're working in e-commerce or they're working in fintech. A coder is a coder.
Yeah.
But what we focus upon are what we call as domain experts. A specific type of chemical expert who has worked in, let's say, adhesives or a special kind of adhesives. So that's an expert for us. We reach out to them, we do our research, what are the gaps we have. Whenever we make a value chain, we try to cover all functions, all clients of those companies, all vendors of those companies, vendor categories, and then the individual vendors. Then we reach out to those experts and try to fill those gaps.
Okay, that's a long chain because background checks and then looking for experts. It's a time-consuming process.
Having said that, we do get inbound as well, but it's few and far between. More often than not, we reach out to the relevant experts.
So,
it's a very curated set of experts.
Since you have experts and consultants, how do you preserve their confidentiality?
So there are very strong layers of confidentiality, right?
Yeah.
So first things first, they need to opt in. They need to.
Companies ask, where is this person coming from? What is it?
Yes, of course, of course. Not just the person coming from. There are 3 or 4 layers of compliance.
Oh, okay.
So so there is a good 12-page agreement. There is a small tutorial which the expert needs to go through, what they can answer, what they cannot answer, depending upon where they are. Even if they have been auditor or a banker in a company where they've been interested in, so they can't do that. So there are lots of layers. So there are 3 or 4 layers. So first layer is when the expert, we share the agenda with the expert that these are going to be the questions. And based on the tutorial, are you okay with all these?
Okay.
That's the first layer, right? Even if the expert says, then our person who's mapping the expert to the project will check, are they? So for every expert, there are off-limit topics, off-limit nodes captured in their profile. So those, if they get triggered, then the first thing they do is, are they allowed to answer this, or are they allowed to be mapped to this particular specific project? And then there is a client compliance on the other side.
Okay.
That do we have a conflict with this expert? So that's the first layer at the mapping side.
Okay.
Even during the engagement, if the expert thinks that this is something confidential I cannot share, we make sure the expert gets paid irrespective of that.
Okay.
So they are actually incentivized to say no.
But from your side, there'll always be a POC, right? Who will be tracking where is the conversation heading? How is it?
No, not. So all the most conversations are recorded, but our POCs can't be there on each call.
Okay.
Right. So we do those 3 or 4 layer of checks before the call.
Okay. It's very
At the time of
fast-paced.
onboarding, where we capture the nodes, at the time of mapping, and then the post call.
Okay. Got it.
And of course, during the call, the experts can highlight if there is any page then or come.
Just to give you an example, let's say McKinsey wants an expert. You bring that expert online and you connect McKinsey and expert. Has it ever happened to you that McKinsey bypass you for the project to connect to the expert directly instead of bringing you into the equation?
Okay, first thing first, let's not take names.
Okay.
Second,
No, just to give example. because
so essentially what you're saying
you might or might
is
not be working with McKinsey. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So essentially what we are saying is what we define as disintermediation in a marketplace. I'll try to answer this with a counter question, right? So how many times you have booked an Uber directly? Almost always you have access to the driver and their phone numbers.
Yeah.
Almost always you have access to a restaurant on Zomato. Almost always you have access to directly to a B&B on Airbnb and the likes. Right? Even the hotel sometimes. But you don't do that. Why?
Convenience, trust, loyalty.
Exactly. So first things first, we get the precision done. Right? We will ensure that it's a precise match.
Yeah.
Most of our peers and and clients definitely do not have that ability to really assess the expert.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't be paying. So we operate in a very expensive premium environment, right? So most of our experts are paid in excess of few $100s an hour. Most of our clients are charged a few $100s an hour. So there's absolutely no point risking that just to bypass for a few $100s. One, we bring that mapping value. Two, both sides have trust on us. And that's what we bring onto the table.
Okay.
Right? Having said that, for longer term engagements, we move out.
Okay.
Because then the trust has been established. Right? So our job is essentially convenience, the payment fiction, the vendor registrations, the mappings, the ability to map and collect data about the expert and reuse that later. That's what we bring on the table, right? So we focus on what you call as cross-domain, high frequency, or small use cases, where the value which we bring on the table is a lot more. But let's say if you have to, order something, or if you are willing to rent out an apartment for a year, then you would not go every day through an Airbnb. Why? Because you established the trust initially. So long-term
Provide very
engagement.
good analogies, I must say. It's very easy for me to understand considering I'm not from this background at all.
Right. So no. So this is a very very key feature of a marketplace.
Yeah.
Any marketplace model. So while I'm sounding very well versed on the marketplaces bit, but we discovered this over the years, right? So as I said, we were an accidental marketplace. So we just discovered the concept of marketplace while we were building it, and that's where we realized that these short duration engagements are the ones where it works much better.
Okay.
We bring value on when there is a lot of information asymmetry in terms of precision.
Okay. So, what type of meetings do you provide? Answer me in the simplest way possible. Like one on. Okay, 1 hour.
One-on-one, 1 hour calls. That's the biggest segment. But of course, sometimes we give what we call as expert sit-ins where there are multiple experts and multiple POCs of the same client who spend an entire day from a 360-degree view of sorts. Then sometimes our experts are used for 2-3 day visits.
Okay. Physical meetings are also.
Physical meetings are also there, but more often than not they're virtual, but
Okay.
some of them are physical.
Okay, okay. And you charge from service seekers only, not service providers, right?
Yes. So what we do is when we onboard an expert, we do an agreement at a per hour basis that this is what. In fact, the expert decides.
Okay.
So expert decides that this is the price per hour I want to charge, and we decide a certain take rate, bill it to the client, and that's about it.
Okay, and what is your percentage that you?
So roughly double it up or a little less than that.
Okay, okay. Meaning like.
So let's say
Break down.
if we charge 100 rupees to the client, roughly 45 would flow to us.
Oh.
45-50 would flow to us. Rest of it will go to the expert.
Got it, got it. Okay, 45 to 50% direct margins.
Gross margin, yeah. The
So,
operating
in
margin.
short, if you're clocking in a revenue of 70 crores,
Roughly half of it will go to the experts.
no, but if you're clocking a revenue of 70 crores in a year, that means you have provided services worth 140 crores.
No, opposite. So if you're doing, so we charge
But
to the client.
you'll clock revenue as the commission that you're charging, right?
No, we bill to the client.
Oh,
So they don't
okay.
care. So this is not a aggregator. So what do you call as a pass-through model? No.
Okay. That's why you. And-
So let's say in the first half we did 50 crores of this year. About half of it will be paid to the expert. From the rest half, a certain part will come as salaries, and we have certain amount of leverage for custom empanelments.
Okay.
So when we are in the growth mode, we'll increase the expenditure on custom empanelments. When we are in the expansion mode, or when we are in the let's say there is a lean period, we would pull back a little on custom empanelment.
So you're treating that remaining 50-55 as your expense, other part as
Salaries plus salaries plus.
Understood. And how does the payment timeline work? Post-service, pre-service, advance?
It depends on the client. So for larger clients where it's very fluid in nature, we sometimes bill every week, every 10 days or every 15 days.
Okay.
With smaller clients, sometimes it's on a per month basis.
If you have worked with a client for let's say 5 years, obviously the trust has already.
Yeah. So we work with
Flexible.
highly professional clients, highly professional experts. Payment is pretty much never an issue.
Okay.
Right. So but there is a cycle.
Okay.
We consolidate and bill. Having said that, with a lot of clients, we even work on a subscription basis,
Okay.
where they pay upfront for a certain number of hours across all the experts.
Got it. And in your client acquisition process, I read something like that you provide trial services too. So what is your conversion rate, if you can give me an idea? Almost all the times the client.
Trial services is not a very significant part. Most of our business comes from our existing clients.
Okay.
In fact, almost 80-90% of business is from clients 5 years and older. So it's just a very long-term relationship. So very few trial services. Sometimes we do offer, even our clients are trying to expand their services, where we pitch in that, if you are trying to pitch in, we would like to help you out in the initial stage if you promise us more projects later. So that's You can call it a kind of trial, but that's not really a trial.
You are deep into this supply chain system because if a consultancy firm wants your services, even if a new company comes in the market, first of all, there's no listed company in the market right now. You don't have any peers. But even if it were to come, replacement cost is very high. McKinsey or other consulting firm cannot trust that company to give that expert because they have already worked with you. So it's more a trust based thing too, right?
So again,
Stickiness is there.
I'll not I'll not agree to the name, but yes, that's what you call as network effects, right? So the incremental value which we get to the expert and to the to a new expert and to a new client is far more than what any of our newer peers can get it. So both sides derive proportional a value from the platform which is disproportionately higher than the peers, especially a new player. So because for existing client the expert base is very huge, the data collected over on that expert base is large. For a new expert, they get exposed to a very large number of clients. So this is kind of, or all marketplaces, or at least most marketplaces, tend to be a winner take all market. And this is not just for our specific to our domain. In pretty much every major geography, there is one large expert network, except for US, maybe where there are 2 or 3 large ones.
Okay.
But in every major geography, there is one large network. In India, we hope to be that one.
Okay.
Right? Having said that, these dynamics play out in other marketplaces as well.
Okay.
The larger the marketplace, the more difficult it gets to replace that marketplace.
So customer stickiness is there.
Oh, yes. As long as you don't mess up, you provide a good service.
Okay.
It becomes cheaper and easier to service the next customer. Even to the same customer, it becomes much cheaper and much easier to get to the next expert. So we actually have that leverage to increase the prices, but we actually end up decreasing the prices at some point to make sure that there is nothing on the table for our pairs. As people used to say that your margin is my opportunity, so we would not like to do that, especially in this phase. We would like to be completely dominant, be extremely price capable while developing the tech capabilities.
Got it. So word of mouth is your actual marketing and advertising that is working for you.
Oh, we do marketing, but long-term projects, yes, is a part of it. I would not attribute everything to word of mouth, but that's a fairly large part.
Okay.
Especially for sourcing experts. See, pretty much every senior person in the country is available to us at 2 or 3 hops. Most of the senior guys are the CXOs, the executives are already on our panel. Whenever we need to reach out to someone, we can get to them, and obviously the word of mouth plays a large role in it.
So you are a service industry. You don't have any manufacturing cost. You don't source any raw materials like manufacturing companies do. So your main cost is employee cost and the software that you have in house. So how do you define working capital in this industry? And what do you mean by asset light business model here?
So asset light is we don't hold inventory.
Okay.
Just like Airbnb doesn't have any inventory of hotels, Uber doesn't have any inventory of cabs, we don't have any inventory of consultants.
Okay.
So what we do is a real-time on-demand mapping. So we know everything about our consultants, we know everything or at least a lot of stuff about what our clients want. Our job is to make sure that they're available on demand. But that doesn't mean we need to have them on our rules. So that's what we mean by asset light or a aggregator or a marketplace model. That's valid across all segments.
Okay.
Right? And
how do you define working capital?
Working capital. So what we do is whenever a engagement happens, we typically get approval from both sides. Since we are in a B2B setup, we pay to the expert after the approvals, maybe 3, 4, 5 or 7 days after the engagement, once both sides agree. Then we raise an invoice to the client, but we pay to the expert initially. For larger clients, it takes some time. For smaller clients, it depends. Then we have different arrangements with different kind of clients. Some of them are advanced, some of them are 30 days, some of them are 60 days,
Okay, okay.
etc. That's what the working capital is.
And can you describe the dynamics of this business? How does an expert network win here?
Let's say roughly half of those projects, let's say 1,500 projects a month, we get done from our existing network, right? That is good 80-85% of our India business. The rest of it, you have to bucketize them into categories. Ho, do the inflow analysis. Like I'm getting 30 projects from this segment, 20 from this segment, 5 from this segment, and make sure you have very granular workflow. Any project which is likely to be repeated or any domain which is likely to be repeated, you do a custom empanelment or prioritize for custom empanelments.
Okay.
Theoretically, you can do custom empanelments for each and every project. But it doesn't work because it is not profitable enough. Or in fact, it is loss making. You could have an army of people doing custom empanelments sitting in the night and getting the expert, but it will not work. Monetarily, it doesn't work, right? So you have to strategically choose those custom empanelments. So how can you harness your existing expert base using tech and data will determine the winner. How do you keep refreshing your expert base by strategically adding experts in specific segments will determine your expansion. So the ratio of these two will determine the winner of the network of this industry.
Got it.
If you do too much custom, you need to increase your margins. You can't operate at these margins. Then you have a very specialized research person reaching out to lots of people, and probably the pipeline is not good enough. It will not work. But you make money on second call onwards. In that scenario, you can come down to you can even bring down the margins. So blended, the margin comes down to what we offer.
Okay. So, you told me before that you run on subscription model too, but that is a
Yes.
very small part of your business. But in an industry like this where projects keep coming in, you don't have an app number of projects or ensure a certain number of projects are coming each month. So, how do you ensure a stable cash flow in this type of business? It's
So-
very project basis, no? As
Right.
when they
So
come.
but we have a very as I said, most of the clients are long term. We work on a per day basis. In fact, what we have observed for the last 5-7 years is that we have been steadily increasing the number of engagements per day.
Okay.
Our monthly engagements average within plus minus 15% of every month. At a per day basis, it is almost the same. So that kind of implies it's a supply constraint model as opposed to a demand.
Yeah.
Even if there is more demand, but more often than not, the supply is what determines the number of engagements.
Got it. Got it.
So cash flow is, we work with all very professional clients. It has never been an issue, to be honest, from a write-off perspective. But from a working capital perspective, I already explained the dynamics.
So, coming back, like it might be a very stupid question, but do you provide international and international services or only Indian and international services? Meaning, if I am a Japanese, for viewers, if I am a Japanese company and I want to expand into European market, would you connect Japanese with European or you only deal with international and Indian clients?
No, yeah, actually, it's a very interesting point. So when we thought of moving out of India, we obviously started with Indian clients, Indian experts, right?
Okay.
Right. So when we thought of moving out of India, we thought, people coming into India, we already have a very large base. We would probably be servicing those clients. But the most interesting thing that happened was the India to international engagements increased much faster than the other one. So now almost 25% of our engagements are India to international exports.
Oh, okay.
So this means that Indian companies are really hungry to expand outside India.
Okay.
The smarter ones are using services like ours, specifically US. So it's a matrix sort of structure, right? So Indian clients, Indian experts, Indian clients, global experts, global clients, Indian experts, global clients, global experts.
Okay.
So global clients, global experts is a very small part of our business right now. We do facilitate some of them, but that's not the large part. Indian clients, global experts is a significant part, although not the majority yet. Hopefully, it will be majority soon. Uh, Global clients, Indian experts, some of it is yes.
Okay.
But for large global clients, India is a small sliver. So they may not have us working exclusively for them.
Okay.
So that works only when a global client has got a very significant exposure to India that they need a India specific network.
Got it. Because culturally we are very different. If a global brand, let's say global fashion brand wants to expand into Indian market, consumer behavior is different, market is different, so they would require your expertise, and that is very important question from macroeconomic perspective too, because that tells how global brands are showing interest in Indian market. Like, okay, so but this segment is expanding for you, very small right now, like
Small,
brands,
but
global seekers and Indian experts.
yes, it's expanding. It's just a very expensive sales option for us
Okay.
because we have to spend the same amount which a global company would spend or a global player will spend on them, but we would get only a sliver of that business. The concept of marketplace works when both sides go together. So you choose a certain geo, you choose a certain set of clients who are there in that geo and a certain set of experts in that geo. You have to, lock the steps on both sides.
Okay.
And they need to move in tandem. So you can't just have lots of clients and then you don't have the network. Or lots of experts and then you don't have the clients. In fact, if you have lots of experts, you will eventually get clients.
Got it. So, geographically, which segment contributes most to your business?
India.
Okay.
India, US is sizable now, about almost a quarter.
Why I'm asking this question is we have a community of hardcore research analysts, and when I told them that I am interviewing you, if you have any questions for the promoter, please let me know. Then I had many analysts questioning your US expansion. They wanted to know what's going on that front. So if you could,
Yes,
put
so,
light
so
on
as I
that.
said, it's on the uptrend. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we had pretty much zero people working in that team. 3 years ago, we just set up the team, probably about 3-4 member team. Now it's almost 40-50 members who working overnight. Almost quarter of our business coming from US. We are maintaining a semi-permanent presence in US. We already have a subsidiary there. At a certain threshold, we might even hire
Okay.
people in US. So that's the status right now.
And will you be able to get the same margins in US?
Yeah, very similar, very similar. In fact, it will be higher. The margins might be similar, but the ticket size is going to be higher.
Okay. And
Margins is usually on us.
volume game. It's a volume game then.
So US is like 50, 100 times bigger market than India. So as you mentioned, the cultural bit, people tend to adopt far faster in US. Maybe not as fast in Europe or Japan than India, but if there is a pecking order, US is the people are very DIY. I just take care of myself. I don't need anything. I'll just do register myself. I do everything myself. If you provide me value, I'm your friend. If you don't call me again.
Yeah. Got it.
It's a very straightforward market, both from a client and expert perspective. Japan or Europe, Japan specifically is a very relationship driven, right? If I know you, you will have a longer leash. India, it is more like do it for me market, right? I need some support.
Yeah, you have answered my question, because my next question was you have worked with various experts, various culture. What cultural difference do you see between Indian people and European experts?
Yes.
Okay, so coming to your financials now, your top line has been growing at a stellar number, that is 50%, and you have maintained your PAT margins at 15 to 17% on average basis. What is your vision for the company, let's say, to achieve 300 odd crores in revenue in, let's say, 3 years down the line?
Oh God, you're putting in numbers. so keeping aside all those numbers,
Ballpark number.
no, I would not like to give a forward guidance at this stage. But so we have averaged somewhere around 40% for the last 6-7 years.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Not too much, not too less, both from a profit as well as top line perspective, right? So we've been gaining market share in India. We've been expanding steadily outside India. So from our core market, this is what we expect, that the Indian market will continue to grow organically. We are not jumping into, uh, you know, subsidize or capture a market or a disproportionately high part of the market, which we cannot without compromising the margins. But we are there. Uh, Internationally, if we are able to crack those markets, the kind of growth which can expect is much larger. Then we have started expanding into peripheral domains or peripheral businesses. So organic growth, India. Inorganic growth is of course possible in peripheral domains or outside India. But a key fillip could come from India US or India Global or Global India Global, India Global, etc. Well, those cross border engagements. But even if we just continue to grow what India is offering, we should be very happy.
Got it. Got it. So, and how is your, I think, Huxa, is it pronounced?
Yes.
How is it coming? Like, and also I was not able to understand what you are doing in that project, because is it a course slash training thing for professionals? If you could just break it down in an easier language.
Yes, so we have a unique perspective that we we have the ability to mesh market research and HR, right? So we have lots of people whom we understand from a research perspective, but we also have a relationship with them from a engagement perspective, that we engage them once in a while. So we wanted to leverage that supply part to other domains
Okay.
or to other markets. We believe L&D is a natural extension,
L&D.
learning and development,
Okay.
right? Trainings. It's a natural extension to that market. So we want to leverage our large existing database of our experts to provide trainings and learning to our clients. Because we have a very deep insight into what they know, there are no organized players who can offer technical trainings. So while there are individual experts who offer outstanding trainings, but it is too difficult for them to really, do it at an organized level. So that's a very fragmented market. Individual experts doing individual stuff, and most of them do not have the capability to manage LMS, to do instruction design. So we have hired instruction design team. We are co-curating courses along with them.
Okay. So if, let's say, my company's marketing team wants a marketing training, then you can connect us to the experts, something like
We could do that, yes,
Okay.
but we can deliver the entire course, which has been jointly made by us and them.
Okay.
So it is again a pre-panel of sorts. Once we have the course on board, it is a repository of courses which you can choose.
Okay.
Having said that, we are not focusing on behavioral / functional courses. We are focusing more on technical courses.
Got it. Got it. And when can we see this initiative actually contributing to your revenues? Is it?
So no, this year it has been not material enough, but we've done good 30-40 trainings or even more. We have been posting regularly on our social media about kind of trainings we are doing. Mostly we have been engaging with lots of autocom companies, we are engaging auto companies, manufacturing, chemical, pharma. So core technical companies is what we are engaging with.
Okay. You have answered almost all my questions, and considering I'm not from this industry, I don't understand IT at all. You have broken it down. You have broken it down in the easiest language possible. Thank you for that. Final question: what is your vision for the company? Where do you see yourself and this company 5 years down the line? Very HR question, but yeah.
I don't know. We don't have a grand vision of sorts. We're just enjoying what we're doing. We're just growing. We're just growing. We are nimble enough. The company is young, lots of full of energy. Everyone is very young, so we're just growing along. I don't know what's a very long term vision, but as of now, we are very happy with the direction the company is taking. We are exploring adjacencies. We are growing the Indian core export network bit at a healthy click. Nothing to complain. I don't have any grand vision for that.
So in a nutshell, you're gonna keep growing at 50% rate every year and make your retail investors happy, I think.
I don't know. I'm in a position to answer that.
Yeah.
But as I said, I mean, we're enjoying the journey.
Okay. Thank you.
Not thinking of the Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.